Hello and welcome to the newest episode of the New Year 6 podcast. Today I will be continuing my week 2 college football preview videos. Today, this one will be Cincinnati at Pitt. So, my eyes kind of a sleeper match between two regional rivals from two different conferences and, teams that do have a history of sorts and are looking to make a name for themselves early in the season here. So if you haven't watched my preview videos before, basically just going to go team by team, kind of sort through keys to the game, what needs to work, what needs to improve, and then I'll do a final score prediction, winner prediction, all that fun stuff. So kicking it off with Cincinnati as they are the away team. From what I've seen, no injuries for Cincinnati or Pitt, so healthy squads on both ends, which is nice to see. But I think for both teams as a whole, we don't really know what their identity is yet. Cincinnati beat up on an FCS squad. Pitt did the same thing. So as far as I'm concerned, we don't know who these teams really are yet, but we're going to find out in week 2. So what I want to see from Cincinnati is, can this receiving room continue to gel? Knowing that they're basically all transfers. D. Wiggins, Xavier Henderson, and Braden Smith. If those guys can gel, mesh, and come together again like they did last week, Pitt's going to have some problems. But even the second string here, Donovan Ollie, Aaron Turner are both new guys. Evan Prater has stayed with the program. He is a receiver there. But if you're going too deep now at receiver, 5 out of the 6 are transfers. The tight ends are loyal to Cincy, but all these new guys are coming in. They're still gelling. They're still getting it together. So going from a game where you're favored heavily at home, the crowd's in your favor, to going on the road where you're not favored, you are the underdog, and the crowd does not like you. I want to see what these receivers can do in that environment, and can they rise to the occasion regardless of where they came from prior to Cincinnati. If they can, Pitt's gonna have a hard time. Those DBs are going to be working overtime there. When it comes to Cincinnati and Pitt, Cincinnati, real quick, what they've done well, they score in the red zone. So yes, it's sounding very similar to my last video from Miami, Texas A&M. They're one of the many teams that is 1,000% in the red zone. That needs to happen again this week. They need to score every single opportunity that Pitt gives them. Pitt is very good in the red zone defense, so someone's gonna fall. Cincinnati tied for first in red zone offense. Pitt tied for first in red zone defense. One of them will not be at 100% by the time, or one of them will not be in first place by the time this is all said and done. So, who will we decide? I can't tell you the answer right now, but I do think the fact that Cincinnati was prolific in the red zone early this year shows that they can continue to be prolific against a higher level opponent. So, if Cincinnati puts it all on the field, doesn't give an inch, and scores in every opportunity that they're given, they are going to give Pitt a lot of problems, especially if something that was working for Pitt very well starts to fall apart. In terms of what needs to take a step forward, the penalties for Cincinnati need to be better. They were 76th as of week 1, so middle of the pack. And again, it's very kind of up in the air. Cincinnati's penalties, as well as the sacks allowed, so protecting Emory Jones, they're actually 78th in sacks allowed. So I want to focus on the offensive line a little bit first, but if they can protect Emory Jones, and this is a guy that last week still had 400 yards passing, he was still getting sacked all over the place. I know that he is mobile. I know that contributes to those sacks, but at that same time, that O-line needs to remain calm and steady for Emory. If they can't let that if they can't make that happen, they're not going to beat Pitt. So, if the O-line can gain their composure, if Emory can stay in the pocket, and if the offense can score in the red zone where they need to be, combined with a continued gel of the Cincinnati receivers week over week and month over month, the Cincinnati team has a very strong chance of making this week an upset. And if they do we put them in the top 25? Do we put them in the others receiving votes? I don't have the answer to that, but it does create opportunities for Cincinnati, to make a splash and make a name for themselves with a Power 5 out of conference win before Big 12 play, conference play starts. So huge opportunity for Cincinnati, but they got to protect the QB, they got to score in the red zone, and those receivers have to keep gelling. When it comes to Pitt, what I want to see from them and what I'm looking forward to, I want to see what Phil Yurkovich can do against an actual challenge. New environment. Can he rise to the occasion? Can he continue to develop and evolve as a quarterback? With these new teammates, with this new team, he's got a full health receiver room. He's got a full health tight end, running back, all that fun stuff. They're all playing. All of his starters are going to be out there. This is Pitt at full force. And if Yurkovich cannot beat Cincinnati with this team around him, he's not going to beat FSU. He's not going to beat UNC. He's not going to beat Clemson. He's not going to beat NC State. Like those, not going to beat Louisville. Like those wins are not going to happen if you can't beat Cincinnati early in the year. So if Yurkovich wants to establish himself as that guy for Pitt, it has to happen this game. So that's what I want to see out of him. I want to see him live up to that Boston College hype, but in this new environment. I think it'll be huge for the team, for him, for the fan base. All of that combined, they're going to fall in love with the Yurkovich performance this week if it all goes well for Pitt. In terms of what Pitt has done well last week, same as Cincinnati. They score in the red zone, and Yurkovich is going to have to be the guy to get that done. Ultimately speaking, it's a mid-level pass attack. It's a high-level rushing attack. If that continues to be the case, and they kind of churn the ball up and move things around, then ultimately Pitt will make the most of these opportunities that they have against Cincinnati. If Pitt capitalizes on the fact that Cincinnati's red zone defense is below average, it is 73rd out there. If they capitalize on that, then Pitt's going to have to take advantage of the fact that Cincinnati has struggled there so far. And I know it's one game v. one game. I know there's a long season ahead of us, but we know Pitt can lock it down in the red zone. We know they can score in the red zone. If that continues to be the case for Pitt in this week, they'll beat Cincinnati at home, and they'll start off 2-0. In terms of what Pitt can improve in and what I want to see them develop in more, kind of the same thing as Cincinnati. The penalties were a problem last week. They're both tied at 76th overall. These teams are very, very similar to each other when you really break it down. There's not a whole lot of areas where dynamically their stats are different. There's a few categories here and there, but ultimately, the penalties are the same. The red zone offense is the same. This is going to be a very style v. style performance in a sense, and I think it's going to be interesting to watch. But if Pitt cleans up those penalties, they don't give Cincinnati anything for free. Pitt should have an easy road to the finish line here. Just the crowd's going to be on your side. They're going to be helping you out, trying to rattle Cincinnati. But you can't be holding on offense. You can't be getting pass interference and face mask on defense. Any of those things that shoot yourself in the foot and prevent you from winning on your own. That can't happen this week. So if they all put it together, if the O-line is well coached and disciplined, if the defense is out there organized and playing to the best of their ability, then that combined with a red zone offense that scores and a quarterback that can throw the ball but really hasn't had to so far, you combine that all together, Pitt's winning this game if those things happen. So I think it's going to be a tight matchup. I think it's going to be a fun matchup, but ultimately, we are going to have to take a winner on this one. So Pitt is the favorite. They are favored by 7.5 points, and the total is 45.5. I am going to take Pitt winning. The total, that 7.5, or that line of 7.5. It's exactly what I have on my end. I guess I'll technically bump it over to 8 for rounding purposes. So I'll say Pitt covers, and I'll take the over on 45.5. That's what I really like. I think these offenses showcased last week that they are explosive and that they are dynamic. And I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair that Vegas hasn't thought of yet. I'm going to say Pitt 37, Cincinnati 29. I don't know what it's going to say about the defenses, but it means both those teams are scoring in the red zone. They are making the plays that are necessary, and the offenses are going to come to life in week 2 with Pitt edging out Cincinnati at home, starting off 2-0, maybe getting to the top 25, but definitely making a name for themselves early on in this season, that they are legit and they are ready to take on the rest of the ACC when it gets to conference play. So that is my official prediction for Cincinnati Pitt. I think Pitt wins a close one. It's going to be a fun one. If you can manage to find it on the CW, you'll be my guest and watch the first game that they've ever broadcasted out there, to my knowledge. So, going to be a fun one from start to finish, though. What are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to win, Cincinnati Pitt? What are your keys to the game? All of that fun stuff, leave it in the comments below. But tune in next time for my second to last week 2 game preview. I'm doing Texas-Alabama next time. The marquee game of the week, the game that people are most looking forward to, most eyes on. Is Texas back? Is Bama defending home turf? We'll find out tomorrow, or my next video, whenever my next video comes out, today, tomorrow, whenever you're watching. And we'll find out for real on Saturday. So thank you all for your time. Thank you all for tuning in. And, just a few days left until we make it to Saturday there. Looking forward to it, and I hope you are too.